So the independent journalist whose viral video grabbed the nation's attention on the rampant fraud scandal in Minnesota, Nick Shirley, was back on the scene at the Quality Learning Center in Minneapolis, who apparently just fixed the misspelling in the name Learning. But Shirley got chased away from agitators as things got heated. Now, this comes as Tim Walz faces serious calls to resign as Minnesota governor, with the feds going door to door to suspected fraud sites and following the money. Governor Walz sure has a lot to answer for, considering he was bragging on the national stage about how, quote unquote, easy he made it to open up childcare centers in his state. During the vice presidential debate, watch this.
As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this. We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this.
You ain't kidding. And this is pretty outrageous. A legal reporter for Politico backtracking after suggesting in a tweet posted on X that any reporter investigating the Somali fraud scandal in Minnesota could have been legally shot. Josh Gerstein shot, saying, quote, at some point, the amateur effort to knock on doors of home daycare intersects with robust stand your ground laws.
So stand your ground law means that you are not obligated to run from a threat. It means you can stand your ground if someone's threatening you. So if you're taking someone knocking on your door as a threat, you've got bigger problems. Someone needs to remind him this is actually Minnesota, around Minneapolis, not Mogadishu. So two different places there. And so he should probably understand that. Beyond that, really what it is, I mean, let's call it what it is. What they've said is if you are taking objection to both the fraud that's happening and then taking a second look at the mass migration of Somalis as refugees, or if you're looking at the naturalization of them who have come here and defrauded the country, then you're racist. And that's what was used against anyone asking questions to begin with. That is documented in court.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, if you want to use this use the Second Amendment against us, say, whatever brings you to the carpet on Second Amendment, I'll listen. But this ain't it, brother. Figure it out. Read a little bit. Isn't that hard?
So whenever there's social spending for new programs or existing programs without oversight, this is often what happens. And especially when it's in the name of kids or nutrition or education or healthcare. People say, oh, yes, or climate. Oh, yes, I must do that. That's wonderful. Let's give more money to that, but no oversight. This hurts Tim Walz, but it hurts Kamala Harris as well. Her first big decision was Tim Walz. And she didn't make many good ones or any at all after that. We wouldn't even know who he was as a nation without her saying, this is the guy I want to be a heartbeat away from President Kamala. America laughed and didn't vote for them. But when you talk about this in terms of a plot scene, Tyrus, I think the sequels are all going to be worse than the original. Because just in Minnesota, Paul, we have 14 programs with billions of dollars spread across them. This is one of the programs. The other one is Feeding Our Future. Nobody was getting fed. Here, nobody's learning a darn thing, including the letter N in the word learning. They learned that today, the adults.
Welcome back, guys. When I saw this story, I honestly had to stop and listen again. Because what is coming out of Minnesota right now is very serious. This is not small mistake. This is about kids, money, trust, and leadership. And when those four things come together in a bad way, people deserve real answers. This all starts with a daycare fraud case in Minnesota. An independent journalist named Nick Shirley went to a place that was suspected of fraud. He was not there to hurt anyone. He was not there to cause trouble. He was there to ask questions. And instead of answers, he was chased away. That alone should make people pause. When someone runs from questions, it usually means something is wrong. Now let's talk about Governor Tim Walz. People are pulling up his old words, and those words are now causing big problems for him. He once said he wanted to make it easy to open childcare centers in Minnesota. On the surface, that sounds kind. It sounds helpful. Parents need daycare. Families struggle. Everyone understands that. But here is the issue. When you make something easy, you also remove checks. You remove rules. You remove safety walls. And when that happens with public money, bad people find a way in. That is exactly what many people believe happened here. Panelists on the show are not holding back. Some are openly saying the governor should resign. That is a strong statement. People do not say that lightly. They are saying this because the fraud happened under his watch and because his own words are being used as proof that the system was opened too fast and without control. Then things got even more shocking. A legal reporter from Politico, Joe Gerstian, posted a tweet that made many people angry. He suggested that reporters who investigate this fraud could legally be sued because of stand your ground laws. Let that sink in. A reporter doing his job, asking questions, and someone online suggests that shooting him could be legal. The reporter later walked that tweet back, but the damage was done. People were shocked, people were scared, and people started asking real questions. Does Minnesota even have stand your ground laws? And even if it did, how could that ever apply to a journalist? The panel made it clear. This kind of talk is dangerous. It scares people away from telling the truth. It sends a message that asking questions can get you hurt. In a free country, that sound never be normal. Another part of this discussion is very sensitive, but it cannot be ignored. The panel talked about questions of racism. They say that anytime someone questions this fraud or asks about how refugee programs are working, they are quickly called racist. That shuts down the conversation. People are saying, look, asking where the money went is not racist. Asking who approved the money is not racist. Wanting rules and oversight is not hate. And using racism as a shield to protect corruption only hurts everyone, including honest people in those communities. The conversation then gets bigger. This is not just about one daycare or one city. The panel says this looks like part of a larger pattern. Social programs are being rushed. Billions of dollars are being spent. Oversight is weak, and when no one is watching closely, fraud grows. They bring up housing programs, they bring up welfare programs. They even mention a HUD official admitting that illegal migrants are getting benefits that were not meant for them. That makes people angry, especially working Americans who follow the rules and pay taxes. Then comes the big question, where are the federal agencies? Where is the FBI? Where is DHS? If this fraud is real, if it involves huge amounts of money, why does it feel like no one is moving fast? People want to know why justice feels slow when regular people would be punished quickly. The panel also talks about the Somali community. And this is where the debate becomes very tense. One side says we must be careful. The people who were indicted are American citizens. Some are of Somali background, but that does not mean the whole community is guilty. Blaming everyone is wrong and unfair. That point matters. No one should be attacked because of where they come from. No one should be judged by the actions of a few. That is a core American value. But another panelist raises a different concern. They say some communities are very tight-knit. Sometimes they appear more loyal to their country of origin than to the United States. That worries people, especially when public money is involved. That is not an easy topic, it makes people uncomfortable, but ignoring it does not solve anything. Honest conversations are hard, but they are necessary. At the heart of all this is trust. Trust is trust in leaders, trust in system, trust that money meant for children actually reaches children. When that trust breaks, people lose faith very fast. Governor Wells now faces a movement that defines leadership. Will he take responsibility? Will he admit mistakes? Will he fix the system? Or will he stay silent and hope this fades away? People are watching not just in Minnesota but across the country because this story is not just local, it reflects a national problem. Big government programs without strong rules invite abuse. And when leaders refuse to answer those questions, anger grows. Journalists should not be chased away. Reporters should not be threatened. Citizens should not be silenced by labels. And children should never be used as an excuse to move money without control. America, America works best when trust is allowed to breathe. When questions are welcomed, not punished. When leaders are held to the same rules as everyone else. At the end of the day, this is simple. If you did nothing wrong, you should have nothing to hide. And if the system fails, fixing it should matter more than protecting reputations. Because real leadership is not about words from the past, it is about actions today. And the people deserve clear answers, real accountability, and a system that puts honesty before politics. Thanks for watching my video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more important stories. And I will see you in the next video.